All right, so I wanted to just quick pop on live so I can record this, but I'm going to step through live debugging the Rector command. So yesterday I was working on the Drupal Rector project, and we had this weird problem where it wasn't analyzing any files. And I realized some folks may not know how to use Xdebug with a command line tool. So I wanted to just quick walk through it. I am using PHP Storm because this lets me run commands through its run configurations and allows me to just run it, but also run it with Xdebug. So to get started, you need to make sure your PHP interpreter is set. So I hit Command, comma to load my preferences. Inside PHP, this is the CLI interpreter. You need to make sure this is set. Sometimes it defaults to none, and then you have to click Edit. So I'm going to click Apply. So inside my vendor directory, inside the bin, there is Rector. And what you can do is you can run it or debug it to be able to run it through here. But I wanted to pass some arguments to it. So what I did is I ended up going through. Here's the end example. Is you do PHP script. We have it as Rector, and it's passing to the end file, and I'm passing arguments where I'm going to process web modules Rector examples. I want to do a dry run, and I'm going to pass debug, and with Rector, you need to pass the Xdebug flag for it to catch and allow the Xdebug connection, and we're passing the working directory. So if you were setting this up on your own for the first time, you would just go to the plus sign, script, and then you would kind of fill all this out. A shortcut is, again, I'm going to hit cancel for that, right clicking, pressing run, and then configuring. So I guess I'll go through that shortcut. Again, I'm doing this stream quickly to capture some live debugging of the Rector command. So if I went here and I hit run and hit stop, it actually already has it pre-configured. So I'm going to cancel that real fast. So what I'm trying to debug is we have this problem where it runs, but it says nothing has been analyzed. So in rector.php, we have this container configurator, which is importing this root configuration. And if we look here, this contains all of the Drupal 8 deprecations from 8.0 to 8.8. And we need to figure out why it's not processing any files. So I put some breakpoints in here so we can make sure that we get all the configuration that we're expecting. And I also want to go into Rector itself, which we have it in, it's prefixed. So hopefully we can do the debugging after all. So we're inside source, application. Oh, shoot. Where's the process command? Let's look at, not vendor. We're going to look at this rector.php, the console application, and see how everything's prefixed. So that's done to help prevent any conflicts with your existing code. Command, process command. Perfect. This is where we need to debug. So I'm going to drop a breakpoint right here. Yesterday, you probably saw me debugging through this with PHP unit, and that was inside the development repo. So now we're actually inside the Rector project added to a Drupal site, and we're trying to figure out why this isn't working. The PHP unit's running, everything fine. It's testing okay there, but when it was like a full functional test, it just wasn't processing any files. Again, we have our web directory, and in it we have these Rector examples, which leverage deprecated code. So let's click on debug. Again, I set up a PHP Storm run configuration for the PHP script of our vendor bin Rector. It's going to process web modules Rector examples, which we have there. We're doing a dry run, so that way it doesn't modify the files. I have to go back and recopy them. We're passing the debug flag and --xdebug because it's set up to ignore Xdebug connections by default. So I'm going to hit debug. So we're in our rector.php, which is like the root configuration. I'm going to step over and the 8.8 deprecations is being called. We'll see that our services inside of, what does set do? Set appends it into the configurator. So that's passing. Let's hit play again. So let's look at the container configurator, container definitions. We have 50 definitions. So we have all of our services, which is a good thing. We have db insert rector, which should have everything set up correctly. So that's good. Let's hit play again. And we're back into our configuration, which seems odd that it double loads it. So let's look at the console. We should end up inside of this execute command. And my goal is that we end up in here and we're able to determine why it's not loading. But why is it changed files detector? So it keeps loading this file. Okay, so because it's still loading it hasn't even run yet. It's still getting there. So I'm going to put a breakpoint there. No, there. Okay, so it loaded it a few times as it figured out all of its bootstrap config. So now we're inside of the execute. So this configuration. So let's just look at this configuration. Where is it? There it is. So configuration is dry run, output format, paths. Yep, we've got our paths, the parameters, our file extensions. So we seem to have everything here. Auto load paths. Skip is upgrade status test modules. That's right. All right, so far, so good. And paths, web module, Rector examples. So now we're just going to keep stepping through. So auto load, import, and source. We'll see what comes back. If is cache debug. Set file infos is PHP file infos. Where was this set from? Oh, is that the problem here? So PHP file infos, files finder, find in paths. We have no files. Maybe? Let's step over. So we've got Rector application run on paths. So PHP file infos is 0. And non-PHP file infos, smart info file. We have YAML files here. So it's not picking up any of the PHP files. And that's why nothing is running. So I'm just going to step through. We're going to hit stop. We're going to look at Rector real quick. And we're going to see. So anybody that just tuned in, I'm trying to figure out why the Drupal Rector upgrade from 0.7 to 0.10 stopped running things. It just returned no files to be processed. Here, I'll pull up the issue as it stands. So yeah, we were having this problem where the log output, we were getting nothing to run. Don't download. I don't want to download that. But it just said, okay, Rector is done. It didn't show any files. And I just stepped through the debugger and not application, not command, in process command. This, sorry, I'm trying to find this PHP file infos returned an empty array. And then inside run on paths, this also returned an empty array because it wasn't set. So it's not running against any of the PHP files in here. And I think I have an idea why. So I want to look at the Rector Symfony, Net, PHP Unit, and Laravel frameworks. One thing that the Drupal Rector project does, if I can find it, is it sets the file extensions. But I'm wondering if this isn't a merge, and instead it's like instead of merging with the existing, it's not scanning PHP files. So let's see, what's this ecs.php? So extension, so set paths, skip sets. Let's just add PHP here, and technically, and we do have .inc. I'm just going to add PHP, and maybe we need to set this as a I think Rector needs to fix that. Like PHP should always be a file extension that's set. So I'm going to run the debugger, and I'm going to step into the set. So this container set parameter, let's look at the existing parameter bag. And we're setting the file extensions. So counter parameters, it's not set. But we're just going to hit play. And we're going to skip over this because it's loaded multiple times. And we're going to wait for it to hit inside of the process command over here, which takes a little bit while we're running Xdebug. All right, so we got the application. And we got to the exit code. We can remove that breakpoint. We're going to hit play. All right, this is the moment of truth. Let's step in. So find files and directories. This configuration, get file extensions. I swear, suffixes. So it wasn't looking for PHP files because it doesn't default to that. So filter file source, smart file infos for each files as file. That still didn't do it. Smart file infos. Oh, here we go. 78 files. Howdy doody. We've got it. Let's just let this run. So I'm going to open an issue for Rector. I don't know if this should be or not, but I'll at least start the conversation. And that's the biggest thing. Whenever you hit a bug or what you think is a bug, you should always file something to start the conversation. So I'm gonna hit play. So it's parsing. It's working. All right. We found it out. I'm gonna hit stop. I'm going to quick one second. I need to figure out where I put this. So projects, PHP, Drupal, Rector. Yes, great. I'm just going to quick open Vim. And I'm probably killing somebody inside since I'm using the arrow keys, and there's probably some nice little shortcut to be able to get to that. Now there's various Rector configs, so we're going to do doc root. So no :15 will get me to that line, and I'm sure there's some way to get to the specific column. PHP, and now I just need to Vim, and the last one should be the web directory. So by being able to get Xdebug running, I was able to find out that the problem is we weren't processing PHP files. diff, wait, git status, git diff. All right, git commit AV, must add PHP suffix. So push that, and I'm going to copy this original, and I'm going to go create that issue. Bug report. I love issue templates, but at the same time, I don't, because you have to read so much stuff. Setting. Ooh, what is it? Setting option file extensions. Can cause PHP file, can cause .php file does not preserve .php. We'll say suffix. First, thank you, subject, details, bug report, in let's see, configuration. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this because I have a call in 20 minutes, and I wanted to try to fix this before that call. So in this PR, we are upgrading to Rector 0.10. We add the Drupal specific file extensions. However, it turned out nothing was being processed. We set the file extensions without including .php, and it turns out this caused nothing to process. Let's use Grammarly to fix this up a bit. Minimal code expected behavior, while adding custom file extensions, I would expect PHP files, I would expect to still be analyzed. Subject details, let's do Rector version. Let's do this right and proper. Just because I'm feeling lazy doesn't mean I should. Okay, wasn't expecting that output. We'll just say project dependent. And I'm going to submit the new issue. And I really hope this fixes a few things. So let's see why this broke. Oh, yes. Drupal test trait not found. Okay, that's great. This is good news. These breaks are actually, well, they're bad, but they're good. That means that core dev is not installed. So I'm just going to pop open this with VS Code real quick. And so GitHub, which ones were these? This was the local package run Rector. Oh, shoot. So this is supposedly adding core dev. Let's see. Set up Drupal. Core recommended. Core dev. Drupal test session trait not found. Ugh, I really hate these bugs because they don't make much sense. Tests, I have a core fixture here. So core, that's the test, and then Drupal, and then Drupal test session test trait. It's right here. Why? Functional test setup trait. Oh, wait. Drupal core test. Core. Lib core test. Oh, why is it in here? Lib Drupal core test. Oh. Functional setup trait. Session trait. Why did this break? That's the good question. And it broke it the same way. So let's do a quick search. All right, let's see. Close duplicate. Not found. What? Create an empty site simple test. Uninstall the testing module. Why? Number 3. If there's any files in site simple test and test base dies, autoloader didn't load in this context. Well, that's weird and unexpected. So it's in Rector examples browser test. Oh, so maybe it's because of our examples. That's Rector testing. Let's go to here. We're going to go to Rector examples test. Browser test base git mock. Why is this? Browser test base. So that should be fine. I'm not sure why it's broken, but I'm going to just leave it at this. Found out. I'm just going to comment, found out why this is not working. We weren't analyzing any PHP files. Setting the extensions is a full parameter overwrite. Now we have a new failure that needs to be debugged, but is consistent. All right, and I'm gonna make sure I update this comment. Actually, I opened an issue for Rector that PHP files should always be analyzed. Great. Thanks for those who tuned in. Again, I wanted to do this just so there's a recording, so that way other folks could see something like this later on. So I'm going to be back at it doing some random streaming throughout the week as I keep working on getting Drupal Rector all set. So have a good one.